overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins at all loss. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah, we overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins at all loss. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Overcoming Adversity podcast, where it's all about transformational growth and having a resilient mindset. Before we get started, we'd like to welcome you to the family, so like and subscribe to the channel. I'm your host, Michael Allison. Today we have on the show the founder and CEO of Hood Aroma and Brotherhood LLC. He grew up in the Marble Manor projects on the west side of Las Vegas. He ended up doing 16 years in prison, but he's now a leader in the community and leaving a footprint in the sand for the younger generation to follow. Let's welcome to the show my good friend, Mr. Lamar Crosby.
How you doing, my brother?
Man, thank you so much for being here with me, man. I really appreciate you being here, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, so like I told you, man, before we got started, man, I said I was reading about your bio, I was reading about your story, and I was like, man, this guy has a phenomenal story and so much life lessons that he could share to our younger youth, to our community, and so many people that probably have been in the same shoes as his, man. So if you can, bro, I just want to tell you thank you for coming here, being vulnerable and transparent to sharing your story. But if we can, let's hop into it, man.
Indeed. Let's go.
Man, so I know you got into the business space with the companies that you're running now, but you didn't just get to this particular level in life where you're at, bro. So if you can, let's take it back, man, and see like how does this journey get to where you're at now, man? Tell me a little bit about like how you grew up, where you grew up, and what was that like for you?
Well, I grew up on the west side of Las Vegas, Marble Manor projects. A time when, gangs, drugs, and violence was, at the peak. And being involved in a gang was, the popular thing to do. Everybody had the flashy cars, the flashy jewelry, all the nice women. That's what they was attracted to. So as a kid growing up, I was involved with the Boy Scouts at a young age. Well, take it back. My mom, she ended up going to prison when I was my first grade year. So I had to go and live with my grandmother from the time she got out. My mother, she came home in my 5th grade year. I remember it was my 5th grade year. And that's when I was in the Boy Scouts and, making the transition of living with my grandmother and having to go live back with my mother. It was, a mindset for a child, because
Right.
rules and everything. My mom, she was my general. My grandmother, she was just, she was the admiral. And when she spoke, you better listen. And if she was saying something, you better listen. But, going to live with my mother, she was always on me about school and hanging out with the right people. And, like a mother should. Right. I didn't understand why she was riding me so hard back then. She wanted me to miss everything that I went through. That's what that was, because she seen better. So I just didn't see what she was seeing. So as being defiant towards my mother, time goes on. We moved from North Las Vegas, more up towards, I'm going to say like on the west, towards the west. It was off of Owens and Vegas Drive in that area. And going back and forth, I ended up getting kicked out of school, and they tried to kick me out of the whole Clark County of Nevada for the choices that, my mother, she was trying to keep me from. But yet, she was the one who told me that I had to start earning my own money to buy the things that I wanted. Mm-hmm. I was only in the 6th grade. I'm like, I'm out. Well, when she came home, I was already washing windows, pumping gas, and carrying boxes, at UPS. That's how I was earning my money after school. Mm-hmm. And that was my routine until she came home. And when she came home, I wasn't no longer doing that because I wasn't living with my grandmother no more. So the rules and regulations that my mom set forth, it was a tightrope. So I had to try to find some other kind of way to get that money, because that's what she said. That's what she told me.
Right.
I'm only a kid.
So
That's
let me ask you this, man. Like you mentioned, like your grandma, and you mentioned your mom. I was gonna ask you, man, did pops play a part at any part in your life, man?
and it's crazy because all four of my grandparents lived in Marble Manor projects,
Hmm.
and my pops, he was never around. He was, he was around, don't get me wrong, but he didn't come and, spend time with me and, pick me up. I had to go looking for him.
Right.
And when I did go looking for him, he'd give me a couple dollars, and I go to the boys club, because that's what everybody was at the boys club, playing pool and foosball and ping pong and playing basketball, football. So, it was just a thing of him doing him. And I see that, he just didn't understand the responsibilities in which he had. So I can't blame him, for not acknowledging the responsibilities, because when you have children that so young, my mom was 15, he was 17.
Mm.
So that's young. I made it through. I made it to this earth through the grace of God due to my grandmother. My grandmother made my mother have me.
Mm.
That's how I made it here, because she told me she was going to get an abortion.
Wow.
Those were the words. And it was never sugarcoated to me on how I made it here. And my pops, we have conversations, and the last conversation that, it was from the heart. Like I told him, I don't blame you for not being involved in my life, because you helped me to be the man that I am today. So I hold no umbrellas or anything over your head. All I ask you to do is just love me. That's it.
Mm.
Love, it shouldn't cost nothing, I think.
Man, all right. Let's unpack a couple things here, bro. So
No,
all right. Let me ask this last question based off what you said. What was your feelings when you had that conversation with your mom at the time, bro? When she said, I was gonna have an abortion, but grandma said to have you." What? How did that impact you, bro, mentally, as you heard that coming out of her mouth and stuff?
man, that's why you have to be careful what you tell a child. Don't get me wrong, because my mom, she loved me. And because of her, I am who I am.
Hmm.
And she did one hell of a job with me. I was the only child for 19 years until she had my little brother. And I asked her, why did you have him? Because I was in the streets. But going back to what you said, it like disturbed me to the fact to where I'm like, well, I'm really not supposed to be here then.
Mm.
I'm really not supposed to be here. My pops, he not around. When you do something as a child, and the parents, they get upset, the truth come to the surface. Don't get me wrong, my mother, she loved me. She did everything in her power to, provide for me. And I really appreciate, I worship the ground that women walk on, because I know how hard my mother had it. You feel me?
Yeah, I
And
feel you.
to have to hear her go in her room as a child and cry. I didn't understand why my mom was crying, but she didn't want to show me no weakness.
Right.
That's why I'm strong. That's why everything I've been through, and even she asked me, son, where do you get your strength from? And I say, honestly, mom, you want to know? She like, yeah, I do, from you, watching you. I mean, watching my mother grow up, it was something special, because she the one that really taught me the grind, because she kept it going. She working for a cat the cat bus, going to school to do hair, cosmetology, working in the beauty salon. So, you know, she always had jobs, multiple.
Mm-hmm.
Hot tamales. She was the best at the hot tamales. Man, listen, I know how to make the I'm telling you, I know how to make the hot tamales. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Indeed. So, you know, but that right there, it like took me in a state because I wanted to help my mom in some way. I wanted to help, but I didn't know how to help.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing everything and being around everything that I was around, and I didn't choose it, it chose me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a prodigy of the projects. I tell everybody all the time, all four of my grandparents lived in the projects. Can't no one else say that.
Right.
If you can, you're a prodigy of where you come from. So that right there alone, it made me to like veer off because my dad wasn't already there. You know what I'm saying? My mom, she was like getting more tighter and tighter and tighter. So I'm like, I need to go. I ran away from my mom and I went to my granny. And I was 13 years old when I left my sole provider.
Wow.
I was 13 years old, and I look at kids today and I'm like, how did I leave my mother at 13 years old? And that lady, she always gave me my acknowledgments. She told me, I think when I was 18 years old. No, it was right. I had just turned 21. I remember because the following year is when I went to prison. And she stood before me and she said, you know, son, I just got to let you know that you did such a marvelous job raising yourself because you left me at such a young age. And your dad, he never did nothing for you. And yet you so beautiful. You stand before me. See, my brain was catch on to everything that was going on around me. And she always taught me not to be like everybody else, be the best at what it is that I'm doing. So I was the best at selling drugs. I was the best gangbanger that you could be. I was the best, whatever you understand me, I was the best at a young age. Bro, I'm telling you, I was acknowledged at a very young age. And she said, I give you 5 stars for raising yourself.
Wow.
I didn't care what nobody else said after that point, because that right there let me know that no matter what I was doing, my mom, she knew that I was in the streets and running the streets, but she knew I was a responsible individual, like she raised me.
All right.
And I was using my head and, you know, being smart about the choices that I was making. Until my grandfather passed in 1998, October, and my grandmother passed 21 days later.
Wow.
That's when my world came crashing down. The
All right.
pain.
Okay, so all right, man, you giving me a lot of gems here, bro. So you already know what I had sent you earlier, man, but we're gonna stay in this first part, man, because I need to unpack some of this. All right, cool.
Okay.
Let's do this. So I do want to ask this. What is your relationship like now, bro? And Mother's Day was yesterday, right? And I just thought about you saying that. And then me and my wife, we watched a movie yesterday, and the movie was called Lion. And it talks about this kid that was raising himself since he was 7 years old on
Wow.
the streets of India all the way till he made it to, if I'm not mistaken, Australia.
Wow.
But he raised himself, got on a train, got on a yo, he made it all the way, and I'm just hearing his story, man, of this resilient. And what I liked is that you're someone that adapts fast to like your surrounding and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I saw that this kid was doing from that story. But he spent his whole life trying to find his mom back and get back to his mom. So I was going to ask you though is based off what your mom said in regards to like validating you and just speaking like life into you and stuff like that, bro. What is your relationship like with your mom?
Well, she passed.
Mm-hmm.
She passed in 2010, 2011. It was like 4 days after my birthday. That's when I get the call that my mom, she was no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just, through every casualty, I just like, there has to be like some kind of sacrifice for the greater good. We was all meant to have an expiration on us. But my relationship with my mom, it was good, especially when she, you know, uh, acknowledged the fact that I just wanted to help. That's all. As a kid, I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help and be a part of what I knew she was trying to do for me, and to be a part of something that's special that I knew that I come from. Because watching that lady was like, I don't know. I remember like every like thing that she did and everything that she had taught me. Like when I was 5, I could count to 100. I had a key to our house when I was 5 in the kindergarten. So responsibility, she taught me that at a real young age, how to be responsible. And just looking at her and going through the things that I knew that she went through with raising me is what helped to give me the strength that I needed when I got out into the world and start making the choices that I make. Because then no one forced me to make those choices. She tried to keep me away from a lot of the choices that I made.
Right.
So I had to live with all that. And I told her, I said, I would never, ever bring my choices, upon you. And I know how you care for me, Mom, because every time something happened, you're the only one in my corner, no matter what. Even if we going through something, you're the only one there for me. We only get one mother.
True.
And I tell everybody, man, you have to worship, you know what I'm saying? You have to appreciate where you come from. Because if it wasn't for her giving a sacrifice in her life to give birth to a life, how will we get here?
True.
We wouldn't be here. So
I wanted to ask you this question, man, because I was thinking about it as I was preparing, and you were telling us you're from Marble Manor Projects, and I was like, all right. And then he said Las Vegas. I've been to Vegas many times, bro. I ain't never heard of anything outside of Vegas, as I know that there's so much more to Vegas, right? And
indeed,
a lot of us get the misconception of like Vegas is just like the strip and partying and all this other stuff, right? But as I've spoken to people that work like in the casinos, most of them live on the outskirts of
Las
the
Vegas, the
partying
strip.
scenes
Yeah,
and all that stuff, right?
yeah,
And they were telling me like, man, there's so much to Vegas that we don't know and stuff like that. So if you
indeed.
can, man, take us through or take me through the stories or what it's like in the projects that you grew up in. What was that like for you as you ventured through your teenage years that led up to you going to
Going
prison?
to
'Cause
prison.
I know you had said that you did drugs, you was in the gangs and stuff like that. So if you could talk a little bit about that for me, man, I'd appreciate it.
Well, when I was 13, like I said, that's when I ran away from my mother. And
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother, she lived in the projects, and my aunt, my mother's older sister, she also lived in the projects. And my aunt, she was on drugs, but you couldn't tell she was on drugs. because as beautiful as she was so beautiful, hair like in the middle of her back and just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
But when I left, my aunt, she was the one who actually introduced me to the game because of my being inquisitive about something that I had seen one of the dudes that I used to hang around in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
I seen him do one day. I was sitting on her porch and I didn't see exactly what was going on, but I seen him hold his hand out. I seen the older guy get something out of his hand, and then I seen him hand him some money in return. I immediately went in the house and asked my aunt. I immediately asked my aunt what was that Miko had handed to that dude, because I need some. I'm telling you, I said, I need some. And she was like, boy, don't worry about that. I'm like, no, I am going to worry about it. What was it? And she know I was the type of kid that when I start asking questions, I'm not going to let it go until you give me the answer, that I'm looking for. So she immediately, you understand me, looked at me and said, well, that's crack. That's cocaine. I said, well, where do I get some from? She said, you have to have money in order to get some of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already at school talking with the kids at school that my mom didn't even know about, with the hall monitor. Ed, I remember him talking with Ed. I took a bunch of Ed money before he knew that what my pops taught me. He taught me how to play cards for sure. That's one thing he did teach me how to play. And I'm good with numbers. So I had stacked my cash playing tongue at lunch. I wouldn't go to eat lunch. That's why I was eating that back there on the back there, setting up, getting my dollars back there. And I think I had like $80 saved up at the house that only I knew about.
Mm-hmm.
And my aunt, I told my aunt that I had some money, and she told me that when I got out of school to bring it over. And that's how everything got started. And she was the one that made sure I saw what I was supposed to see, so that she knew when it was time for me to take over that I knew exactly what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. And she taught me a lot of lessons. I ups and downs, smiles and frowns. I've had a lot of those, a lot of hard lessons, but she was the one who introduced me to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of me seeing what I saw, and she actually taught me the ropes. And by the time I was 16, I bought my first car. I
What you
had
get?
a Chevy. I got me a photo Chevy Caprice, put it on the rims, had the music in the trunk. 16 years old. Come on, bro.
Yeah, man.
I'm talking about I gained respect from the older
Mm-hmm.
guys because of my hustle was like so magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that one of the fellas that I grew up with, he told me, and I got a lot of love for this cat. He told me the truth. He said, the reason that the homies never liked you was because you always thought different.
Mm-hmm.
Your hustle, man, what we trying to do, you will get out and do it in a few months.
Running circles around.
Run circles around them.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. Because my mother, she always taught me not to be like the best of them. I mean, like the rest of them, be like the best of them. I don't want you to be on nothing ordinary. So whatever it is that you do, I want you to be the best at it. That's just my mindset, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from the woman. You know what I'm saying? And I was just watching the Michael Jordan movie just the other day. And seeing how his mother were with him before when the scouts and everything was, she was the one that made all that possible, making sure her son was, receiving the best treatment when she turned him loose. And that's how Nike, they had to submit to her demands
Right.
in order to get Mike. You know what I'm saying? So the upbringing that my mother had gave me before I left home, it was different. So when I started out in the world, even she said, I had my falls, but I get right back up and get right back on my horse and get it moving. Even though she didn't like it that way, I didn't understand no other way. As a kid, I'm a kid. I'm just seeing everything around me. That's it.
Right. You didn't get the matter of fact, I want to ask you, did you even like go to high school? Because I was gonna say it sounded like you didn't get the like go to college to get a degree, go work a 9 to 5 job. You know what I'm saying? It sounded like you didn't get that conversation, you know what I'm saying? So like, yo, you were taught hustle. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what I grew up on. And I ended up going to prison right after my granny had passed. It was a few months after my granny had passed. I literally lost my mind. I started smoking sherm because the pain that I was feeling. I was at my weakest point in my life. Did nobody understand what I was going through? It seemed like nobody cared what I was going through. It was all about what one can get. You know what I'm saying? I had my tight knit circle, but I was just like out of my mind. I didn't care anymore, and I ended up leaving my kids. What I never meant to do, like I tell my daughter all the time. The good Lord, He has a gospel for all of us, and thanks to Him, I'm still here. Because I was so labeled so much of a threat. I was known everywhere. Like my mom say, be the best at what you do. So I was known from the gang members in Northtown. That's North Las Vegas. I stayed on West on West Las Vegas. So the gang that was in, I was a blood. So the Crips, and a lot of them is my brothers to this day. I didn't realize what, my representation really was until I ended up going to prison. And everything that my mother had taught me and everything that my granny had taught me and said to me about the friends, I didn't really hear it. I didn't, really grasp on to it until one of the guys that I really grew up with, and we always been cool with one another. It's just a genuine love. He get out of prison, I go to make sure he good. That's my brother. And he said, "G, you still the same dude. Like you just straight real, bro. You know what I'm saying? You really like care about the peoples. Like he said, you the only person that come to, you know what I'm saying, make sure I'm doing all right. Out of all the homies that, I said, man, look, I don't really even trip on that no more because in prison, I found me. And I don't care what nobody think about me no more because my mother and my grandmother, they was 1000% correct about the homies. I don't have no homies. Either you my brother, my sister, or you just another. So I represent me as a black man. We out here as a community of African Americans. We not even considered a race. But he told me the reason that the homies never liked you is because they labeled you a go-getter. Like, wow. Like, that's crazy because my pops wasn't around. I left my mom's at 13. So if y'all was from the neighborhood, y'all know my story.
Right.
But a lot of people don't care about your story. They only care about what you're doing.
All right.
So it really like took a toll on me, you know what I'm saying? Because I gave it my all. I gave them my all. I like, you know, I wouldn't even mess with some of the homies, they baby mamas. They was like attracted to me because I was keeping it so real. I wouldn't even mess with them. Like, that's my dude.
Right.
That's my bros. I can't do that to him. But it comes back to where, you know, it gets spit in my face somehow for keeping it real with them. And finding myself in prison the 16 years that I did, thanks to Brother X. You know, I don't know what he seen in me, but it was something that he saw. Because when I moved in with him, he always said, I have something for you. Got something for you, youngster. And I'm like, Brother X, what you got for me? He's like, you ain't ready right now. Just, you know, when you ready, I'll let you know. And I don't know what he seen that I had did, my actions, but, you know, it's people always watching you. That's what we don't understand. But when he gave me what he gave me, that changed my life, bro.
Who is Brother X?
Brother X, he is one of the Muslim brothers that grew up in Northtown. He was an OG blood. He had to find himself, you know, and he also was like, well, he totally changed his life. Like, Brother X was, man, you couldn't place nothing negative around him. Nothing. I'm talking about, so when I moved in with him, you know, I had to, you know, get along by, you know, respecting his space if I wanted him to respect my space.
Right.
It's all about a mutual respect when you dealing with cellies. And he handed me a packet one day and he was like, I want you to read this. And after I read that packet, the Willie Lynch program, you heard of it?
Yeah, I heard of it.
I no longer wanted to look at my brother with no aggression, because that's still being incarcerated mentally of what our people's been passing back down to us generation to generation to generation. You know, like Sensei Spec say, it's time for generational curses to be broken.
All right.
So a lot of people don't understand, you know, just because you free, you're not free. I'm just saying, bro.
Now,
I'm
that's a
just saying.
fact. That's a fact. If you can, man, you did 16 years, and if you could give our audience, you know, that's listening to your story, that has been so impactful, like, as I'm listening to it. Like, I read it, but I'm listening to it as I'm going through the show, bro. Man, if you can, if you want to tell us what happened in regards to like how you ended up there,
Well,
but I would want you to elaborate and tell us like what was 16 years like. That's 16 years of your life that you missed out here, bro. What was that like?
man. Well, what led up to, you know, me being incarcerated? Uh, I was in the drug game like heavy as a kid, and I had more than what a lot of people thought I had. I sometimes like shock myself, like, you got all this, like, you know what I'm saying? And once my grandmother passed, it was like a domino effect. My grandmother passed. My guy that I was been dealing with for years, he ended up catching a Fed case. So now I'm like, man, I can't put nobody in my business because everybody is already in my business. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna just, you know what I'm saying, put the drug dealing to the side. And when Master P came out with the Hot Boys, you remember that?
Yeah.
I was a No Limit Tank. Listen, hey, bro, I'm telling you, listen. I don't know why he put out that Hot Boys movie. Hey, man, I already knew I was hot, but I had to get hotter.
My man got steaming hot.
I got piping hot. I'm talking about, yeah, I really got hot. And I wouldn't even sell drugs no more. I just going to take what I want. I was just going to take everything. If you had something that I wanted, I'm coming to get it. That's how I was raised by some of the older cats that, you know, you respected they gangster. When they came through, you respected they G. You know what I'm saying? So that right there was another bad choice. Another bad choice after bad choices that my mind, it wasn't on track no more, because after losing my grandmother, it was like my whole world had derailed. So all the good choice making, that went out the window. I didn't even know what a good choice was. So robbery after robbery after robbery after robbery. Even the judge, when I got sentenced, he said, I've never, after all my years in being on the stand, have seen one individual get in so much trouble in like 6 to 8 months. Like, what happened? Yo, you just like, and I told him, he was like, I want to know what happened. I was like, you know, I lost my grandparents. He was like, they raised you, huh? I'm like, yeah, they did. After I lost my grandmother, I fainted at the casket. Man, it was like hard for me, bruh. Because my grandmother, she was the one that knew me like no other. Whenever I was going through whatever it was, that lady, she sat on the porch and she watched everything. For someone who I thought knew nothing, knew everything. And when I would come up to check on my granny, you know, every day, every other day, she would just look at me and be like, come on, baby, come sit down. And she'll start rubbing on my knee. That was like the way to let my wall down, you know? And she'll be like, talk to your granny. Tell me what's going on. So she was my pressure valve release. You know, even when I tried to hide it from everyone or what I was going through, I lost that. And she literally had to come back to me in my time to let me know that everything was all right. That's when my process of healing started when I was in prison. You know, her letting me know that everything was all right. You know, everything that, you know, her and my mom instilled in me, it was time for me to, you know, start standing up on my own 2 feet like a man. Because they was absolutely correct. You don't have any friends. Your friends, they gonna go for you. They gonna go for you, good, bad, ugly, no matter where you at, no matter how ugly, that's a friend. No judgment passed, you know, just worried about you as a person, as an individual. That's the definition of friend. And there are not really many friends out there like that.
Right.
So that's how I came up with brotherhood. Brothers rely upon trust in historic achievements. It came down to me. I've been so let down by everybody. But yet, I've been pouring into everybody that I can. Everybody that I can help, I help.
And I love it, bro. If you can, man, you said Brother X helped you transform while you were locked up. So if you can, man, touch on that transformation process for you, and then what that what that like fueled inside of you and like fired up inside of you to like come out with a different type of mindset to now being a leader in the community for me?
Well, knowing where he had come from, and you know, everybody as you growing up, you always think about what the next person thinks about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody loves to pass judgment, you know. So being in a room with him, it really got me to understand that it's okay to be me.
Yes,
It's
sir.
okay to not think about what others think about me.
Right.
And even if they are thinking about me, I have to be doing something right for them to be thinking about me.
Yeah,
You feel me?
yeah, yeah.
So he helped me to like go outside the cell and be me. You know, I'm you know, I'm a, you know, mingle with the cats that I see that's, you know, want to do something. That's, you know what I'm saying, got their head, you know, halfway screwed on in the right direction. I no longer want to be around the individuals like a loose cannon. I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I know what a missile is. I was a missile. So I had to deactivate, you know what I'm saying, the missile, because that is dangerous. It's very dangerous, not just to others, but for myself as well.
Yeah.
So after reading what he let me read, it gave me the understanding of I no longer want to come at my brother with aggression, no matter what color he wearing. Matter of fact, I'm gonna degrade myself of the color because the color didn't, you understand me, do anything for me anyway, but had me with an ignorant state of mind. That's all it was. Ignorance on top of ignorance equals ignorance. So I had to shake myself of the ignorant mind state and being in the room with brother X, because he wasn't with that. It was like it was meant for me to go in there with him, because that's when my transformation had really started.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I didn't care about what nobody thought about me. I'm gonna be me. It's all right for me to be me.
Yep.
My grandmother and my mother, they always told me, you know what I'm saying, I was special. So I had a special way of thinking. So I had to, you know, start accepting that role and start stepping into, you know, what the women seen, just like brother X seen. It was something that he seen in order for him, because he didn't mess with no youngsters, none. So for him to accept me in his world of communication, to give me the gems that's needed to live life and understand, to build a more understanding as a man for self, to get to know me more than you I thought I knew me. And I appreciate that brother, you know, for everything that he did and everything that, you know, his direction and you know, his firmness, because he was firm with it. You know, this is how it is. And you don't want to test no OG. Please believe you don't want to test no OG. I appreciate, you know, everything that I've been through, my journey, and through it all, it helped me. The 16 years, I actually did 3 years in the hole.
Mm.
And that's 72 hours showers. So you come out every 72 hours to shower. So being in a room by yourself for a long time, the system is designed to break you. That's what it is. It's designed to break you so they'll forever have a bunk with your name on it. Because they know when you out in society, you're unbalanced, you're unstable, your mindset. They know what it is. It's a mental game that they play. So if you're not mentally stable, how you gonna be stable out in the world?
Mm.
I mean, I could say 2 + 2 is 4, but will we get that? That's what they do, you know what I'm saying? And I took all that time for, thanks to the OGs. He was like, man, you gotta always find yourself doing things that's keeping you busy. just like you were when you was on the streets. You always had something to do. So I started teaching myself how to draw. I would wake up literally and draw for 8 hours every day. And I got some pictures that you wouldn't even think that I even drew these pictures now.
I'll tell you this, bro. So that's my talent as a kid. I went to art school, so I would believe you. I've been
See?
drawing ever since I was a kid, man.
So I've learned that the talents that were in me, I just had to bring them out. I had to give myself a chance. I had to really give myself a chance at, being the best version of me that I possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
I give a lot of good information, and I tell myself I got to start accepting that same valuable information. And I just did a lot of soul searching on me.
Mm-hmm.
That 16 years. And BruthaGee is who you see. That's who you know.
So 16 years, man. You had a family before you went in, right? Or so I wanted to ask you, what was that like, knowing that there was a strain on your family and that relationship, bro? I know that had to tear you up, man. So
It
if you can
did.
talk a little bit about that
It did.
until the point you got up.
Uh it's crazy because, like I said, my mother, she was my number one. And this is what really like broke me down. I was in class. I started programming because I'm seeing everything that's going on in prison. It's like what's going on the streets. It's just like a more tight, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
We all right here. So when I realized that, I'm like, I got to bag up. I just really got to bag up from all that because I'm not changing. I'm not making no types of changes. And I'm in class. Well, I started seeing the guy Jeremiah. Jeremiah, he was a white guy, and we both had the same amount of time. And Jeremiah, he was going to programs, he was going to college, and I wanted to be like Jeremiah now. So I enrolled in college. I enrolled in every program that was available to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gone from the time the yard opened up. I think I wouldn't probably make it back to the unit to probably like 9 o'clock. That's when I got out of school. When I got out of college, I graduated with a 3.8 thanks to my mom. My
That's
GPA
what's
is a
up, man. Let's
3.7.
not
I'm
gloss
telling you.
over that. That's what's up, man.
Thanks to my mother. You know
You know
what
what I'm
I'm
saying?
saying?
The odds are stacked against you, bro. You shouldn't have done that, and you did.
But
That's
yet
what's
I'm
up,
the
man.
encouraging type for the brothers that need the encouragement, because some people mentally ain't ready for time. They're not built for time because they still haven't came to terms with you were wrong. You have to come to terms with self and start taking accountability for the things that you do. Like I told the judge in front of the judge at sentencing, y'all know I'm not finna sit up here and try to, get you to, think no other way. I let you know that I just want to take responsibility for everything that I've done. And whatever you see fit, I'm gonna just have to be, responsible and take that and deal with that. He said, after hearing that, I wasn't expecting that. I want to continue this because now I really don't know how much time that I want to give you. See, that's the man upstairs. See, you the judge, but you're really not the judge. My father, you feel me? That's it. Oh my God. I promise you, bro. Man, like through the whole process of everything, like I got a chance to like really get to know me and what I stand for
Mhm.
as a man. I tell my daughter all the time, you know, us as men, we make choices. A lot of them choices may not turn out how you ladies might think they should.
Mhm.
I said, the only reason that is because we're not ready to take accountability for our actions.
Mhm.
Once a man start taking accountability for his actions, they change.
Mhm.
His life change for him and everybody around him. So I tell my daughter all the time. We used to go back and forth, you know, as a tug of war, but now when I text her in the morning, good morning, Shouty, how you doing? She texts me back, good morning, father. I'm good. You know, that's just giving me the account, the credit, the credibility that I deserve,
Right.
because she know that I'm doing everything in my power, not for me. That's for you and them kids to change. I want to be there for you. I want to be there for my grandkids. I want to be there for everything that, you know, I possibly can be as a man. And I want you to understand that I did everything that I possibly could to assist you in helping you to being the lady that you are. And now she talks to me. We have talks. We communicate. Our communication is beautiful. You know, I was just, you know, reaching out to her yesterday and letting her know it was something that I seen, and I want to have a real day. A real day is what we sat down at the table and we gonna lay it all out on the table. Acknowledge that everybody has feelings though, but lay it out. You know, let's talk about it.
Mhm.
You know, let's get it out there, because what I seen, I didn't appreciate.
Mhm.
And as your father, you know what I'm saying, I would like for you to do better.
Mhm.
So I just want to point out to you in certain directions in which I feel that you can do a little better in.
Mhm.
That's all. No matter what, you know, we have to build that bridge of communication with our children.
100%, man. I ain't never thought about that, man, but I really like that. Let's have a real day.
A real day.
A real day.
A real day. You know, I
I
want to
like
have a
that,
real
man.
day to where everybody can really express their feelings, acknowledge how everybody is feeling, every acknowledge that everyone has feelings, but you want your feelings to be acknowledged as well.
Right. That's what's up.
So yeah, I just sit and I think about things all the time. I'm the type that, you know, I have a picture that was taken in my grandmother's house, and I'm in the room sitting on the bed and I'm thinking, and I find myself doing that to this day, like thinking, like, you know,
Mhm.
I mean, what I do, I don't do it for me. I do it for our generation, not just my kids. I do it for our generation, because growing up, like I told he was in the Boy Scouts, and you know, I appreciate everything that y'all had did for me when I was growing up. You know, it was just when I got to a certain age and I started seeing kids with the nice things and the nice things, and I wanted some nice things. You know what I'm saying? I knew my mother, she did everything that she could for me as her son. I was spoiled. I didn't know what no was sometimes. You know, so when she did tell me no, I could accept no, because I know tomorrow I'm gonna get something else tomorrow. So you know, I mean, but I tell him that no, he tell me that he appreciate and he really, you know what I'm saying, acknowledge the fact of all that I done been through, and he really loves the fact that where I'm headed. They say it ain't how you start, it's how you finish. So my start, I had to figure it out.
Right.
I had to, you know what I like and know what I don't like. That's why my grandmother said she never messed with me, because I was her smartest child. I had to figure things out in the world. You know, I had to, know what I like, know what I don't like. And what I don't like is the deceitfulness, the enviness, the it's a lot of things that I don't like. But what I really don't like is representing something that's not gonna rep me back. That's what I really don't like.
100%. Let me ask you this, man. I want to tap into this business that you started because we kind of spoke about all of your experiences leading up to where you're at today. And like I said, there's so much like power and experience in that. So if you could, bro, can you tell us about this business that you've created, the purpose behind this business, and like what you're trying to do with it, man?
The purpose, well, being in SSB since the ending of last year, like explosive. Like it was the best, one of the best things I have ever come across in my years.
Mhm.
And I know when something is good because I done experienced a lot of bad.
Mhm.
But my business, since they say, would you still do what you're doing if you weren't getting paid for it? And my answer is yes, because I have a purpose behind what I'm doing.
Mhm.
My products, they very much is the peaceful solution, like in the home, like my scented oils, they is very that aromatherapy,
Mhm.
organic,
Mhm.
any way you want to use it. That's all I do is sit and I think and I research and research. And a few of the herbs that I put in my oils come from South America,
Mhm.
and they good for the internal,
Mhm.
So the billing of what I'm doing is I want to leave a legacy behind, not just for my family, but for families that I know come from where I came from. The struggle. It ain't necessarily got to be the struggle. You know, I mean, just accept the fact of what we've done been through. I mean, we got to start getting it together. We got to start, putting it together as our peoples and embracing one another and learning how to communicate with one another. And they say, we quick to say Black Lives Matter, right?
Right.
Who taking all the lives of the blacks?
Self.
The blacks.
Self. Yeah.
So the incarceration is 85%. 85% of the incarcerated African Americans is incarcerated due to another African American putting them there.
Right.
85%. That's a high
What
number.
What are your thoughts on how do individuals remove that type of mindset, the slavery type of mindset, the pulling each other down type of mindset, and changing that, and then having a mindset of like transformation, uplifting people, building people up? Can you talk a little bit about that for me, man?
That's a real good question. That's a very good question. How I came to my mindset and not passing down judgment upon others was seeking information about me, like what it is that I really stand for. And because they say when you point the finger, three pointing back at you.
Mhm.
So if I point the finger, then I got three more fingers that's on top of that one that I'm pointing. So let me take a look at why I'm pointing anyway, because I really need to get I need to get to the point of who it is that I am and what it is that I stand for as a human. We quick to, you know, pass judgment or, say negative things or come like not correct. Because if it was correct, we would have more bridges built amongst, you know what I'm saying, Brad.
Yeah.
But you really need to tap into the mindset of you as the individual
Right.
to understand where you come from. They say if you don't know where you came from, you'll never know where you're going.
Absolutely.
So I had to do some digging of my background. All my roots is from the South. All my peoples is from the South. And it's crazy because I went down to Kentucky with one of my guys that I grew up with for years. He watched me grow up, and he pointed out a place where they hang blacks at. We went right up under the bridge and said they hang blacks right here on this bridge right here. That like did something to me, like to actually be present where blacks was being hung. Oh man. They say when you have a heart, when you find your heart, you'll find a lot more things in you that you never expect, because then you start to care about others and not just self. It becomes selfless.
Yeah, man. That process of discoverability is like so important, man.
Yeah, like you and what you went through. I was
Yeah,
hearing your story
yeah.
and the discovery. You had to really discover who you are
Hmm.
through everything that you've been through. We so quick to, say, oh, well, life is throwing this, life is doing this, well, that's life. Life is always I tell my daughter, when you're doing something right, there's always going to be something wrong. So put on your hard hat and your boots, because life ain't easy like that.
No.
So you have to discover you as an individual and know what it is that you stand for. Like I discovered the gangs ain't for me
Hmm.
because I love my peoples. I don't want to just love a certain portion of my peoples.
Hmm.
Peoples that wear this color because these people. No, I don't care if you wearing purple. Man, if you got love for G got love for you. I
That's what's
ain't
up,
only got
man.
love for you. I got some real knowledge for you. I got some understanding. I tell people, I'm contagious. I'm gonna rub off on you in some shape, form, or fashion.
Hey, man. A little sidebar here. As you say this, I have to say this on air because I know that somebody that listens to our show is gonna pick this up. But my wife, she listens to the show, and we was in the gym this morning, and she was wearing purple. Yesterday, she was doing something, and she was wearing purple. So today, I said, "Is your favorite color purple or something now?" She was like, "No." So she's in an African dance that she's dancing for this Thursday at a school. Her
Yeah.
dress that came in today is purple, and you just out of the blue. We ain't had this conversation about nothing. I'm just also it was like how this energies aligning and stuff like that. You just use the word purple out of
Out of nowhere. It's a relation, bruh. It's a You feel me? Man, you
Oh
know,
man.
I accept my peoples. I
So
accept my
man,
peoples.
as someone that's I would kind of say if you're is like an activist and just trying to like help our community, bro. What do you think is missing in some of these communities based off like what you've seen growing up, bro, and what you think could be an impact in communities nowadays?
What I see is missing is more leadership, more people. You know what I'm saying? Stepping up to the plate and really being involved. More people. Taking hand and being accountable. Holding each other accountable. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying, for what's going on, and really being involved. I mean, it's crazy because the involvement process, and I look at how a lot of the people live life today. Everybody is yet so judgmental about whatever it may be, but we all have a purpose in life. Why not help each other figure that purpose out? I seen something on TV, and I'm always catching on to, you know, certain things. And Shaq, all the people he messed with that he do business with, from this business, Shaq, he got his hands in a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
One thing I really respect about the Diesel is that he pulls everybody together. No matter what you're doing, what business you're involved in. And he say, how could we help each other?
Mm-hmm.
That's deep. That's what we need.
Selfless.
Mindset. That's selfishness. You know, how could we help one another grow? That's what we need, that mindset.
I love that, man, because like when I grew up here in Miami and stuff, bro, you could clearly tell this yourself. Only certain communities help each other, and certain communities don't help each other.
Facts. Facts.
And that's so. If you go to basketball games, you see who sit around the front of the basketball games. You go to certain communities, you'll see the communities that stay clean to the communities that don't stay clean. So you can tell what communities are serving each other, helping each other, standing up for each other, those types of things, opposed to the ones that don't care about stuff to the ones that do care about stuff. And
Facts.
what that comes down to is that same individual person that's in that community. If you wanted to stand up, if you choose to live there, you choose to operate and do business there and things like that. Use your voice. You know what I mean?
Man, everyone has a voice, you know, and I realize that the energy that one gives off, not just the energy, but the vibes, like, you know, I like to give off good vibes to everybody that I run across, everybody that I come across, that I interact with, just based upon, I don't want you to judge me, but if you do, you're not going to know me until you get to know me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
right.
just like you got a face on, I have a face on, but my face is, you understand me, just so you could get to know me
Mm-hmm.
before you judge me.
Right.
Because see, once you hear my story, maybe you might not be so judgmental no more.
Correct.
You know?
My mom always referenced. My mom, she preaches back home in Jamaica, and she's always telling us to not be so judgmental. And she always referenced the scripture. You know, don't be the first one to cast a stone, or don't be going to point something when you got something wrong with you too. As in, like,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't that perfect. You know what I'm saying? So,
Come on now.
hey,
Come on now.
hey, man, I wanted to touch on something real fast here. So, with your company, Brotherhood, what do you think is going to be, or you want it to be, the legacy once it's all said and done for this company and for this business that you're starting right now?
Brotherhood, I want to be known as a community of individuals that always uplift one another,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we need anyway. So Jamie, like she was telling me, you know, she separated it, like the brotherhood and my products, because I had it all in
Mm-hmm.
one. So I was headed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but you know, brotherhood is a mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and it have to be something that you're ready for in life to embrace. You done came to the conclusion of who you are and what you stand for. Now you're just looking for your congregation of people to hold hands with.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I did in SSB. You know what I'm saying? I've like found my family,
Right.
you know, because everybody that's in SSB, I haven't seen one bad heart yet. I haven't seen one supporter that, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want brotherhood to be.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just aligning myself with greatness. That's all.
How do you prioritize self-care, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and just to stay balanced now, man. I thought about like all the things that you were telling me, man. Now that you're in this space where you're with this family that you just spoke about, you have this business, it's doing what you wanted to do and all this other thing, man. So how do you maintain all these things to have this positive vibe, this positive energy that you just pouring into people?
Well, I have to say thanks to my heavenly Father. Hey, he's the greatest. I mean, he wakes me up, puts my feet on the floor, and my attitude is my gratitude. So, in relation with dealing with a lot of things that I have going on, I have a very peaceful environment.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of peace to, be able to process and think and categorize, and you know my world is not clustered. It's not clustered like it used to be. Now I really know my direction
Hmm.
and how I must take steps in towards achieving these goals.
Hmm.
So like Sensei say, get one thing done at a time. Focus on one thing at a time.
Right.
You focus on this, make sure this is doing what it do, then you can put your energy over here, so all of them will do what they supposed to do.
Right.
Nothing is going to be half, because you need everything to be whole.
That's right.
So I have a lot of time to think and process, you know being at home, and uh just like I have no only time I have was when my grandkids is here. Other than that, they here, the house, it just go. I'm telling you, you can come through the door. Your grandkids been over here. Yeah, they been over here, bro. But other than that, you'll come in and you'll just feel like so relaxed, to like, sit down and be like, oh man, it's a real like peaceful environment. Like, and my diffusers and my oils, they like help set the tone for me. Like I keep them burning right here in the room. So I keep that fragrance in the air. It's like a positive energy to me that, I don't know, I can't describe it, but it's like a vibe, and it helps me to stay on that positive vibe, so I can pass that positivity on to people when I'm outside of my home, because it all starts in the home.
Wow. Man, Pastor just said that it starts in the home yesterday, that message based off what you just said.
Yeah.
I I was thinking about what we was talking about earlier, and like my discovery and my transformation and the direction I'm leaving my life, man. And the biggest thing that stuck out for me, man, was like once you start being like authentic and you just find like clarity in like things that you're doing, bro, like your peace of mind just like shifts.
Man,
It
man,
just
man. Look, I tell people, and they be thinking that I'm crazy, right? When you done found a peace of mind, your whole life changes. Everything change. Your business, your
the worry goes
relationship,
down, the
all
stress goes.
that. I tell people I don't even know what stress is. I don't stress about what. Come on, bro. Man, look, I have more peace. I call my place Peaceville. I call it Peaceville. You can't come around here with that BS. No, The devil, he know he's not welcome in here. He tries his hardest to come in here.
Mhm.
But I don't need no sage for you, bro. I got faith for you, bro. You feel me? I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
like Sensei say, turn down the fear and turn up the faith. That's my new word. Turn down the fear and turn up the faith. Oh yes, I love that. Man, it's a beautiful thing when you done learn how to find peace within self.
If you can, man, I want you to for somebody that's listening right now that may have been incarcerated or facing something like that, and may have had something similar to your experience or something like that. But if you can, man, give us some words of inspiration based off of the misconception that people may have for someone that got out of jail and stuff like that. Because you're living proof of like you could make it happen. So can you do that
Indeed.
for me, man?
Well, I have to start off by saying you must believe in you. You must, you understand me, believe in you. There's a lot of people that probably don't believe in you. You know, whatever it is that you want to do, that you know you like to do. Just because you had trials and tribulations in your life doesn't necessarily mean that that's gonna define who you are for the rest of your life. So a wise man said, Mandela, when you win, you win. But when you lose, you don't lose unless you learn the lesson. If you learn the lesson. So through life, I've been learning a lot of lessons. So being down, being incarcerated and coming back and trying to make a transition, all you have to do is want to seek help. Want to seek help. Want to, you understand me, get to the next level. And in order to get to the next level, you need help. So you have to seek and you shall find.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just sit back and, expect things to come to you. And it's a lot of things for inmates getting fresh out that it's a very nice start. I can put together a package, you know what I'm saying, a kickstart package for an inmate getting out, boy, and you'll be on your way.
I think you just came up with an idea right there.
See, you'll be on your way. All you have to do is just seek. Yeah, you're right. That is a good idea. That is a
So
really good idea.
so my next question for you was gonna be this, man. So how can society is how can someone re-enter society prepare for
Prepare
coming into society? You know what I mean? Like with all of the things that's out here in this world and stuff like that. You know what I mean? How
with the
can society
changes.
prepare
Yeah.
for them, and how could they prepare to step back out into this world?
Well, mentally, like I said, it all goes back to the self. But coming out, you have to understand that people, they're gonna be judgmental. You got to work past that judgment. You got to keep pushing past that, because if you let people, you understand me, be the altering fact of where you land,
Mm-hmm.
you going nowhere. Because not only is it designed for you to fail inside, it's even that much more designed for you to fail outside.
Mm.
Because they done already done, you understand me, discombobulated your thinking process.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to believe in you. Believe in, you understand me, your purpose. You have to have a why. Come up with your why. And we'll work on everything else, you understand me, that needs to be answered.
What are some changes that you think like the criminal system has now that you would like to see or you think should be changed?
Well, it's done got worse. I have brothers that I communicate with that, I don't forget where I come from. And I know that they don't have, the family members probably looking out for them, or, accepting the phone calls when everybody needs to be heard. And when you're on that side, you just want to know that somebody cares. That's what it is. When you have somebody that, cares in your corner, you come out with a feeling of, I'm going to make it. Ain't nothing going to stop me. Ain't nothing going to stop me. Can you hold for just a sec? Hold on.
Hello, I'm calling from Mr. Anchor. I'm calling to speak with Lamar Crosby.
Yes, I'll be there.
All right.
Thank you. That was for one of my appointments. But yeah, you have to just really gather the feeling of you already against all odds because of the choices you made.
All right.
Now it's time for you to accept that, take the accountability, and you know what? I ain't gonna let that define me. Because everybody make bad choices in life.
Right.
I know for a fact. Just because you didn't get caught for your choices don't make you no better than me. You know, I got caught, you understand me, because it was meant for me to get myself together, get my thinking process together, get my life together. Because the direction that I was headed in was a crash course. I don't know one successful gangbanger. Facts. If you is successful, you ain't Snoop Dogg. I'm just saying. So I mean, as far as you wanting to put the right footprints in the sand, because you got kids, you have children, you know, your brothers, your sisters, they have children. Do you have a heart? That's the question. A lot of people don't even acknowledge their heart because they're not caring about nobody but themselves. They stuck in that selfish. It's all about me. Me. They're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about, you know. So you have to come out with a different attitude. You have to, you understand me, set your thinking process to you're going to make it. Facts. And let that be that.
How important is it for that kid that's in impoverished communities right now, living in poverty or something like that? How important is it for mentorship, guidance, accountability partners, you name it, someone that has already paved the way to reach back out and help these people and inspire these type of people that are currently in these situations?
Man, it's very important. It's very important, especially, you know, in the minority communities. You know, for the leaders, they I'm gonna use the terminology. The terminology came back on me, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna use the terminology. Monkey see, monkey do. That's what they label us. And they right. Because everything somebody else is doing, I want to do that too. We're not the ones that's bringing the drugs over here in the countries. How you think they making it to the projects? They don't want nobody out the projects to, you know what I'm saying? They stack all the odds against, they put everything in these projects. They take all the leaders that they know, they take them off the streets because they got too much influence, or they get killed. We need to bring more leadership, more understanding as individuals, and selflessness to the community, like it used to be. Back in the time, you know, everybody used to watch out for everybody kids and everybody was outside playing. It's crazy because I drove through my projects just the other day and I didn't see no kids out playing. I can't remember not one day as a child that I was in those projects and kids weren't outside playing. That's how much is done changed. See, we don't have the join hands factor no more. Everybody is got their nose turned. What you got your nose turned up for? Come on now, you gotta be kidding me. Why is you passing so much judgment? You know, when we need all this help. When they acknowledge what I acknowledge, we on our way. Because we need help.
Most definitely.
And we gotta start somewhere. So I said I was put in this world for something, so I guess this is it. This is my purpose, because it was always meant for me to bring. I've always knew how to bring the peoples together.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some didn't like how I, so they like stayed away. And then I got brothers to this day that be like, bro, I'm so proud of you. You know what I'm saying? After everything you done been through, everything that, you know what I'm saying? I'm just so proud of you. You is an inspiration to me. Not just to me. When I talk to others about you, you're an inspiration. So you need to start, you understand me, getting that out there, that inspiration that you are. Because everybody don't come from 16 years like that. The mindset.
Absolutely not, man. Man, I have so much more questions to ask you, but I'm just gonna try to wrap it up here, bro. I'm gonna just ask you about two more questions, man.
Okay.
So yourself now is filled with so much knowledge and wisdom. How do you, as a leader, stay, up to date with like what's going on in this world and stuff like that? So how do you educate yourself? How do you choose like the people you surround yourself with to like stay on the trajectory that you're trying to take your life and stuff like that?
It's funny that you said that, because as of the end of last year, I was, still, mingling in the circles of the liabilities.
Mhm.
Until I heard Sensei say, I want you to go through your phone and I want you to look at the last 10 phone calls. And I want you to honestly label asset or a liability. I think my last 10 phone calls, it almost made me cry.
Mm.
I said, some has to change, some has to give. I can't be the one that's continuously pouring into everybody and don't nobody want to pour back into me.
Mhm.
I want to see everybody shine like the brightest star that can shine possibly in the sky.
Mhm.
I don't care you shining that bright. I'm gonna tip my hat off to you. It was meant for you to shine that bright.
That's what's
You
up.
feel me? It was meant for you to shine that bright. So I salute you. But one thing you must understand, that if he give it to you, he'll take it away.
That's right.
So you don't make the right choices, you understand me? Huh? Believe the wrong choices gonna come back on you. So I surround myself with people now who I feel want it, who I feel is not selfish,
Mm.
who I feel don't mind helping,
Mhm.
who I feel is good for the team,
Mhm.
because that's what it is. Together, everyone achieves more. That's my terminology.
I like it, man. So, what is the legacy for you
For me,
and the purpose for you now? What is
my
that for you?
legacy, my legacy it's done totally done took a transformation, because at one point in time in my life, I didn't know that I stood for as much as I do
Mhm.
until now. So my legacy, it would actually be looked upon as that brotherhood. That's where I want my kids to be. That's where I need them to be. Because here in the hood, I'm gonna teach you to be all you can be.
Mhm.
Ain't no skies here. It's just galaxies. You a star. You a star. So I'm gonna
Man,
treat you as such. I'm gonna treat you just like a star. That star that you are. I'm
man,
gonna treat you just
I
like that
love
star.
how you think, man. I love how you think like beyond, what I'm saying, what the average person is thinking. I love how you think. Bro, All right, so Vegas projects, mom, dad, grandparents, incarcerated, came out, changed your life, man. Phenomenal story, phenomenal transformation. What are some gems, nuggets, advice, life lessons for the people that's listening to this podcast that you want to
Man,
leave them with, bro?
I'm gonna say for the adults first, you have to really acknowledge the fact that others have feelings when you speak to them. Everyone needs to be heard. Everyone has a story. But the choices that you make in life, you can't continuously making the same choices because then they can't be considered mistakes. At some point in time in your life, you got to start taking accountability for the things that you're doing, especially if you have children that's around you, because the children are watching.
Mhm.
They're only a product of their environment. If I didn't have the type of mother that I had growing up, I know I probably wouldn't be nothing like I am today, because she showed me, she taught me. The only game she played with me was Monopoly. So the choices that we make is the choices that we have to stand on and take accountability for. So if you do something and you know you can't look yourself in the mirror, that's not right. You said something about somebody over there and you know you wouldn't like that said about you, that's not right.
Mhm.
It's a boomerang effect.
Mhm.
So until you start, you understand me, accepting the fact that you have to give what you want in return, you will never really get what you want
Mhm.
because you ain't giving.
Mhm.
So I just say treat people how you want to be treated. However it is that you want to be treated, however it is that you want people to talk to you, do the same for them. Sometimes people just need to be heard. Be their ear. Listen to them. Don't always be quick to kick somebody when they down.
True.
Everybody falls.
True.
Why not be a helping hand and help pick them up? You know, that's why we are considered last in the race, because we don't know how to embrace one another. We need to step up our embracement game and show them that we can and we shall start embracing one another like we should.
Definitely.
I don't know you, but you still my brother. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Someone that you can always talk to, that you know if you needed to talk to, if you needed advice from. I'm gonna stop doing what I'm doing because I hear your SOS, your cry out for help, you know? So when I throw up my flag, I be here to release what it is that we going through so we can process and learn how to move along. We're not carrying that with us. We're not, you know what I'm saying? You only can carry so much baggage.
Yeah, man. Burden's too heavy to carry, bro.
And I travel light, you know? I travel light. I travel real light,
That's
very
what's
light.
up, man. Man, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, man. I'm gonna leave the floor open to you here, man. If anybody wanted to book you for a speaking engagement, book you to get on their podcast, if anybody wanted to do business with you, work with any of your companies, buy your products or anything like that, man, the floor is yours. Go ahead, man.
Well, if anybody you know wanted to work with me, talk with me, speak with me, you can hit me up on social media: Facebook, Lamar Crosby; Instagram at BruthaGee's13; and my TikTok is Brotherhood 1000. I'm always willing to work with my peoples. because we need to work with one another and we need to start, building one another up. That's what this brotherhood is all about. So I need, the community to stand behind me, stand up with me. And let's start making this change that's needed, not for just, our kids, but the kids to come, your grandkids. Let's change our future due to how we was treated in the past. Together we can do it, but we can't just talk about it. Look, we gotta be, do, and have. Huh?
Like that.
Yeah.
Get up out of here, man.
Okay,
hey,
my brother.
Brother, thank you so much for joining me, man, and sharing your life, your transformation, and this story of overcoming adversity and just being resilient, man. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey, it's my pleasure, my brother. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, man. Guys, I'm Michael Allison. This is my good friend, BruthaGee. Until next time, we love you. Peace.
Peace.
Can't complain at all. Couple dollars in my pocket, no income and go. Been working on my body, getting healthier. Thank God for clarity.